Hi, so can everyone hear me? Yes? So we're gonna start in like a minute, but before we. No. What happened? Can I talk? Yeah. So before we start the whole cooking, I wanted you all to just keep a check on all the ingredients. If you've done your proper chopping, got your spices out, have your spinach washed, have your paneer. So all of that, if you have got everything ready. If not, just chop your onion as good as you can. Get your tomato, if you have fresh tomato or pureed tomato, get it out. Your ginger, garlic, and green chili. So just get everything ready. And
Paulami, I have my neighbor here, Rina, and
yes.
she can't connect because there is a message you are unable to rejoin this meeting because you were previously removed by the host.
No, I think she can just try and connect again. And if she tries to join in again, she will be able to do it. So the host will admit her again. So just ask her to join again. Try and join again. Yeah, just ask her to do that and she'll be able to join. And very importantly, please, if you have fresh spinach like how I do, remember to wash it, because even if the packet says kevasan, I'm not really sure if it is washed most of the times or not. And have your stuff mixer ready. If you have a NutriBullet, you can have a NutriBullet with you for making the one that you use for making smoothies. So you can use that if you like, or just keep things ready. I'm gonna grab the cookbook by Ilona. Yes. I'm going to talk about that. I would rather have you have the seeds. So what I would ask you to do is, if you are somebody who doesn't like spicy food, then instead of one pepper, have half the pepper, but with the seeds. So that's what I will ask you to do. But for now, just use half the pepper if you're somebody who doesn't like spicy food. Yeah? Perfect. So, okay, so all good? All good? So today we're going to be cooking something what I simply love, and I had done this Instagram post or poll a couple of days back, and had asked people as to what they would like to learn, and I got a lot of responses. Of course, I had somebody who said biryani, somebody said something with fish, someone said chicken, and someone asked for an authentic paneer curry. So I thought, let's teach Palak Paneer, the dish which is really loved by a lot of people, and it's available everywhere around the world, not just in the Netherlands, but anywhere in the world. If you go, you will find this dish served in at Indian restaurants. So I thought, let's do palak paneer, and to go along with it, you can of course make a pot of rice, but we'll make some flatbreads. We'll make paratha. That is, it's more like a unleavened bread. It's an instant bread. There's no yeast that's added to it, and this is something where you add a little bit of oil at every layer so that it gets a little layery. So we'll make paratha. And another reason why I thought palak paneer will be a great idea, and that's where I reached out to my friend Ilona, who has written this beautiful book on bitterballen. So all of you who speak Dutch will understand, or from the Netherlands or have lived in the Netherlands would know the love of bitterballen. This is something which is a must essential at every Vrijdag middag borrel, or any borrel that you have, of course. And borrel, for those of you who don't know what it is the Dutch concept of having fun time with a glass of beer, a pint of beer or wine, and some kind of snacks. And bitterballen is one of the snacks that's generally served along with it. So Ilona, who lives in the Netherlands, in the south of Netherlands, has written this book, and it has come out just a few weeks back, if I'm not wrong, a month and a half back, and we attended the launch of the book through a Zoom call as well. So, and she has written a bitter bala recipe using my Palak Paneer recipe. So there is a Palak Paneer bitter bala sitting in this book, and one of you who lives in the Netherlands can win this book. So after this workshop, once you all have prepared your food, you can tag me and her, and then we know that that person, whoever has made one of the good dishes, will. And again, no pressure. It's not that you have to make it look super pretty all the time, but it looks good. So I hope everybody has entered, and if there's anyone pending, I have somebody who's going to help me. My husband, who's sitting on the standing on the opposite side, is going to help with the technical things, where he's going to admit everybody who joins in. So if any, even if we have somebody joining in a minute or two later, it's absolutely fine. What is that noise? So before we start, my name is Paulami, and that's my name. I run a company with the name Spice Trip with Paulami. I moved to the Netherlands 3 years back, and I have been talking all about spices and about eating with spices, and that does not really signify hot spicy food, but then signifies the use of spices and the benefits that spices can bring in everyday food. So people who are trying to be more vegetarian or trying to be going to the vegan route, for them especially, spices make the most sense. And if you're somebody who loves your meat, a little dash of garam masala or tandoori spice is also something which can just take your spare ribs to the next level. So it's just what I do. I do cooking workshops in person in the Netherlands, but given the current situation, we are really not doing any in-person workshops right now. But starting from June, I will start having them. I will announce the dates as to when and where and how and etc. But for now, we will do the online thing, and we will do Palak Paneer today. So the 3 dishes that we're doing is Palak Paneer. Paneer, for those of you who don't know, paneer is, these are, I've cut them into cubes already. So if you have not yet, you can always do it later. You can always cut it into cubes while we are cooking. There's no pressure to do it right away. I've just chopped them because I made a video about how to make paneer at home. A lot of you who wanted to join this workshop today said, we don't find paneer at the place where we live. What do we do? I said, okay, let's make a video. And the video says how to make paneer, and it was already there. So I thought, let's use that paneer. And that's why you can see the cubes. Paneer is of the texture of halloumi. So it does never melt, but it gets really grilly. So if you want to use this, it's a vegetarian, or even if you eat meat and if you love to have an option, this is a perfect thing to go into the barbecue as well. You can really barbecue paneer cubes with some fresh vegetables and some spices, and it's perfect tandoori paneer that you can have, a tikka paneer. And that's what paneer is, and it's made out of cow's milk always. The next dish that we will be making is raita. So we're going to make cucumber raita, or Kachumbar raita that we call it. You can, of course, if you don't have cucumber, just take it out and use tomatoes or just onion, whatever you have with you. It's absolutely fine. So raita is a form of tzatziki. So it's a type of tzatziki sauce that you have in Greece. In the way in which tzatziki is made is a slightly different way, because you add a bit of garlic to it, but in this case we don't add garlic, and it's very fresh. And for those of you who find Indian food to be extremely spicy, raita comes to the rescue. So and if you're vegan, and if you are lactose intolerant, you can always use soy or coconut yogurt. I have found coconut yogurt to be the best substitute for non-dairy substitute for raita. Soy, I'm not really happy with the flavor that it brings. And also for those who are lactose intolerant or vegan, Palak Paneer can easily be substituted with tofu. So paneer can become tofu. So just use tofu cubes, the hard one, not the silkened tofu. The tofu is perfect, or chickpeas, potato, corn, maize corals, perfect to go with. The same recipe can be followed. So this is something which you can of course do if you're lactose intolerant. So let's begin with the recipe. So I'm going to keep everything to the side, and if you are following me while we're cooking together, and if you realize there is something that you're not able to follow, just unmute yourself and ask me, and I will answer it immediately. What I will ask you to do is take a big pot so that we can just blanch the palak or spinach. These are baby spinach. In India, we never used baby spinach. We always use the wild spinazie. That's what it's called in Dutch, or the wild spinach, which is generally the big ones, you know, the big spinach leaves is generally used in this dish. I had this at home. If you have the frozen ones, I would ask you to just soak them in a little bit of water and just keep it ready if you're using the frozen spinach as well. It's fine to use the frozen one. I have some in my fridge which is frozen too. I generally have these for my salads, so I know that this comes really handy at home most of the times, but the frozen ones as well are really good. So I'm gonna let this just come to a boil. It should blanch once the water starts boiling. This should blanch for, I would say, give it 5 to 10 minutes. It will start blanching and it will have a really nice color and get softened. The reason why we are blanching the spinach before adding it to the dish is because this step will ensure that the spinach does not have that raw flavor anymore. So blanching just literally helps you in doing that. A lot of restaurants around the world call this dish as saag paneer, but if you go to India and ask anyone for saag paneer, they would not really understand why you're telling it saag, because saag literally translates to leaf. So if I call something instead of boerenkool stampot, if I say groente stampot, you will be like, which groente are you talking about? So literally, if I say saag paneer, it can translate to any leafy vegetable. So it could be actually boerenkool or kale. It could be any radish leaf, beetroot leaves. It could be any leaf, and that's why just for the ease of it, the restaurants call it saag paneer, but then it's actually palak paneer. Palak stands for spinach or spinazie, and that's what has gone in here. What I would do is, I always believe in adding a pinch of salt. I have added enough for the spinach to be dipped into it, so there is no measurement for it. How much spinach you have, the water should be enough for it to start blanching it. So there's really no measurement for this. I would say, yeah, I've taken around, this whole pot of spinach has half a pot of water. So I don't know. That's how Indian cooking is. You really can't have a measurement most of the times. I hope that answers somehow. Brilliant. So what we'll do, we would do is start cooking the rest of the ingredients. As I was mentioning, the reason why I will add salt to my palak while it's blanching, or spinach while it's blanching, is because that salt always helps to gain the temperature. So the boiling temperature comes in higher, faster. So that's why I always add a little bit of water, and that's the same case when I'm boiling boiling eggs. I do the same thing. So I always add a little bit of salt while I'm boiling it. So it's going to start, it will keep blanching, or rather it has still not reached the boiling point. So meanwhile, on the side, you can all grab another pot. So I'm doing it on a flatter pot so that you all can see it. And what you could do is just take a little bit of oil. I'm going to add almost 2 tablespoons of oil for the amount of spinach I had. I have around 400 to 500 grams of spinach. If you're using the frozen spinach, the whole box of it, and if you have say 8 or 10 of those bolachas, you should also add 2 tablespoons of oil. If you don't have oil and if you want to use ghee, which is keklar the butter, you can also do that. It just takes the dish to the next level, of course, because what can butter not make good? So you can always add that. I have to make my ghee sometime this week, and that's why I'm not adding any ghee right now in this pot. And maybe I'll do a video on how to make ghee as well. So that's why I'm just waiting for my ghee to happen at home. So while the oil is going to heat up, and always cook on a medium flame. So this time we've tried to keep a feed from the top as well, and that will help you all to see what's happening on my side of the gas, because generally what we heard from people in the last few workshops is they can see me, see what's happening, but they really can't get a top view. So this time we thought of just changing a little bit of setting. So you can see the top of my stove as well. To this, while the oil is heating up, add, and you can see my spice box as well. So I'm gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of cumin seeds or cumin seeds. Now the reason why we add cumin seeds or mustard seeds always in oil is because you want the essential oil from the cumin to come out and release in the oil, and that's why you will always add it to hot oil. So if anybody has questions, please, that's your time, go ahead and ask them, because we will now be adding our onion and the rest of the things in a bit in this. So if you have any questions, please do so. I am really excited to see how the Palak Paneer at everyone's end turns out. If you're using the frozen paneer, as I said, frozen palak or spinach balls, just soak them in a little bit of hot water for like 2-3 minutes so that it releases or gets defrosted. Just do that, and that should do the job. And then we will work on it, because I will be using the stuff mixer or the hand blender for the frozen and the fresh ones both.
Okay, excuse me, what did you add in spinach?
In spinach? In spinach we had added some water and salt.
Okay.
So if you can see now, my spinach has come to a good boil. It's boiling right now, so it's blanching well. I will just take a spoon and try and just, yeah, let it blanch for a few more, just a few more seconds. The other trick is, if you love the lovely green color to spinach, the other option, the other trick to this is, while you're boiling it, when you take it out, put it in an ice cube bath, so a bowl with ice cubes, and that will just help to not let the spinach lose its color. But in this case we are not doing that, because this is a home style cooking, and if you want, always you can do that at home for another variation to the same dish. So if you have your onions chopped, I'm using red onions, you can use any color onion. I'm just going to add it now to the pan and let this sweat out. So I'm going to let this turn slightly pinkish before I add my ginger and garlic. And what I will do with my ginger and garlic is, I have not made the paste, or have not grated it today, which I gently do into a paste. I didn't do it today because I will be using my pestle and mortar to do that right now. So that's how I will do my ginger and garlic. But what I've done is I've just chopped them really fine, so then it's very easy to make it into a paste. You don't have to really make a paste. You have to chop it this well to make a paste in the pestle mortar. But yeah. So this is how the first step is always to let the onions have a slight brownish tinge to it, and that will help to get rid of the raw flavor that onion generally has, because onion has this strong rawness which a lot of people don't appreciate when they have to eat. Yeah, it's okay. You just take it off. Audio? Sorry, technical problems. We're just trying to make this whole live stream thing really seamless, and this is going to help you all in the future. If you want to refer to the same recipe as to how you made it, you can yourself go to the live stream and see it. This is not an exact zoom feed that's going in, and that's why none of your faces would come into the live stream, but just my face. I'm so not.
What's mixed with garlic now?
I have taken garlic and ginger and I'm just pounding them into a nice paste. So if you see, this is how it's looking like right now. So it's just not a very smooth paste, because you don't have to make it into a smooth paste. This will get cooked up in any case. So we are not going to be kneading a really smooth paste. What you could also do is, if you have a NutriBullet, you can actually just take the ginger and garlic and tomato and make it into a paste along with the spinach. I mean, that's another option, and that is also something that just eases the job. My spinach is done, so I'm going to turn it off. If you see, now this is how my spinach looks like right now. It still has the green color, so I am not going to do anything about it. But if you, yes, go on.
I haven't seen it from Paulami.
You have, yes, I will do whatever this is. Huh? Other way?
This has to be this.
Ah, okay, this way.
Yeah.
Is it okay now? Can you see?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Can you see now?
No.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, perfect. Stands brilliant. We're set. Okay. This is how my spinach looks like right now. Oh, wait, I can actually show it here. This is how it looks like. It's super green. If you see that your spinach has way too much water, you can take a spoon and just separate some of the water. Don't throw the water away, because that's really good water that you can use later on for your curries or for smoothie. This is a really good water that you can use. So I will not be throwing it off, but I would rather keep a little bit aside. And also, when you're making this the curry, if you need a bit of bouillon, what we say, or stock, this is what will help you to get the stock. So you don't have to add any water to your palak paneer separately. So what I did is I literally just took out, I would say I had added, I think now I can say I added 2 cups of water, and I've taken out 1 cup or 1.5 cup. And what I have now is almost a half a cup left in my thing. And my onion is good color on the onion and the ginger and the garlic. And now I will go ahead. So I have 2 green chili. I'm not adding both of them. I am just going to add 1 because I had a little spicy food this afternoon, so I don't want to be having a lot of stomach problem tomorrow morning. So I'm just adding one. I've kept the other one. If I feel that my raita is too bland, then I might add the chili to that. But right now I'm just skipping it. I'm not adding 2 chilies. But if you're somebody who likes to eat very spicy food, go ahead and add that. These were ravit green pepper, or I don't know what the name in English is. It's just green chili that you know. But in Dutch or in the Netherlands, it's called the ravit green groene pepper. So that's the green, the small ones. The ones that's used in Thai chili as well, or Thai cooking as well. But if you, and what I was talking about, somebody was asking me if I should take the seeds out. The reason why I don't prefer for anyone to take the seeds out of the green chili is because the seeds have really good nutrition. It has high vitamin C, and if you take the seeds out, you're just eating the outer bitter part of the green thing of the chili, which has some nutrition but not enough. And that's why I always prefer, if you are somebody who doesn't like green chili, don't use this variation of the pepper. You can use the big lombok, the big chili that you get, or the Turkish pepper. That's this big green bell peppers that you get, the longish one. You can also use that. This will not bring you heat as much, but also you're getting the nutrition. So I would not recommend anyone to take the seeds out and use it. That's my recommendation. So that's how I would do the cooking. And I would recommend everybody, just try it out sometimes and see if that works out for you. I don't know why it smells amazing. Why? Wow, this is already smelling good for me. I don't know if it's smelling good for you guys too. But while this is kind of working out, I will start making a paste for my spinach, and I'm literally just making like a saute or like a mix inside the pan. So if you are using a NutriBullet, you can just transfer it. Ensure that it's not too hot, otherwise it starts spilling everywhere. Yeah, I hope this does not though. So you can all see from the top view now as to what you know, I'm trying to get at the end of the day. So even if you're using the frozen spinach, do the step right now. Just blanch it. I mean, not blanching it, but then blend it into a smooth paste. Again, it's not a crime if you don't make it into a paste and just eat it as is. As I always say, Indian food is very forgiving. Food is forgiving. I don't know how many Indians are forgiving when you don't cook it right, but I'm talking about the food. I'm pretty forgiving that way. But what I'm trying to say is, if you are somebody who's running really late and you want to cook this dish and you don't have enough time, so you can actually just add the frozen spinach, defrost it and add it directly. You can do that, but that's not how authentically it's made. It's always made into a smooth paste and then added. So that's how it's authentically done, and I'm teaching the authentic version. But if you are somebody who doesn't like it or doesn't have time or prefers it that way, you can always do it. Now is the time to add the spices, and I will go super slow so that you can all follow me while you can follow Paulami. That's the joke that I always hear every time. Everyone's like, oh, follow me, did you know you're follow me? Like, yeah, you're not the first person to make that joke. I've heard this 20,000 times maybe in my life.
Slow down a bit, I'm not ready yet with the spinach.
Sorry, you want me to slow down?
Yeah, because I have a different kind of cooking system. It's slower with the
Ah, okay. No problem. No problem. But what I will ask you to do is just add some turmeric and salt in the meanwhile to your pan, and don't add any spice. Just do that and keep it. And then we will wait for everyone to be at the same speed.
You already added the garlic and
Ginger. Yes. I added the onion. I added my ginger garlic, my green chili and tomato. And if you can see, this is how the paste, it's not a paste that I've really blended, but the tomato really smoothens out and becomes a mushy paste. Even if you're using a passata, the puree, this is how it will look. If you're using tomato paste or the concentrated paste that you get in the supermarket, in that case this will look redder than required. That's because it's concentrated, so always add a little paste to it. And while we were talking, I just added half a teaspoon. So this is a really tiny teaspoon. So it's half a teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of the turmeric powder. If you want, you can skip the turmeric powder altogether, but I prefer turmeric in almost everything because turmeric is the only spice that's known to Ayurveda as well to be for all the doshas, for all the seasons, and it's the best antiseptic, anti-inflammatory. That's something which I think there's nothing that can go wrong if you eat turmeric every day. So I just add turmeric in literally everything, and I don't have to go to Starbucks to buy a curcuma latte for €5. That's how I don't think any Indian would ever go to a Starbucks to buy a curcuma latte. But of course, why not? If you have it, if you're working at Starbucks and you're getting discount, you can always do it. So what you can see, I don't know if the front camera on the top camera is showing you. You can see that the trick to good Indian food is always ensuring that when you're cooking, your oil should separate from on the sides of the pan. If you can see right now, the oil has separated. Now this can happen only if you do cooking in two ways. A, if you add way too much oil than what the food needs, and two, if you cook your curry really well so that the vegetables have all come together and it starts separating the oil. And that's the whole thing about cooking food. Indian food, you have to be a little patient and cook it in a way that it starts separating oil. So is everybody now at the same pace as the spinach? Can I move on to the next step? Can I start adding the spices? If yes, I will do that because, so I got a thumbs up. So I'm going to be now adding my spices. Now what you see over here is a lot of spice. We are not adding all of that. We are not going to be adding all of this. We will be adding right now, this is cayenne pepper or the red chili powder. This is different from paprika, as I always say. This is curcuma, we've already added. We are not adding curcuma or turmeric powder. We've added cumin seeds, we're not adding that. We have cumin powder. I have to refill from my storage that I have. So this is cumin powder or cumin powder and coriander powder. So you can always make it fresh, but that's what I do. I have my seeds, I dry roast them without oil for literally 30 seconds or so, and then I make it using my pestle mortar. I make the paste, or I have a coffee grinder always with me, so I use that. And then I don't grind coffee in it, of course. So while we are now having the place where the oil has started separating, I am taking half of, so 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. You can always add 1 teaspoon. I am adding 1/4 teaspoon. I'm adding half a teaspoon of coriander powder now to this. And if you wish, you can also add some cumin powder, but I am not going to add that. We also would add some garam masala. This is my home blend that I make at home. You can buy garam masala from a lot of, nowadays I think Aha all the time, which is a store in the Netherlands. A lot of people who don't live in the Netherlands and are in the workshop right now would not know what Albertine is. So you do get it now at all major stores in the Netherlands. So garam masala stands for hot spice mix, and it's very different from the Hindustan's or Suriname's masala that you have that they use for cooking, because this in Indian food we make our own spice mix for which is different for different dishes. Garam masala is a mixture of coriander seeds, cumin seeds, star anise, cardamom, clove, cinnamon, mace, bay leaf, black pepper, a lot of spices, immense. I mean, every time I make black garam masala, I have to give it to my neighbor as well because she is also getting the smell. So it's not that I can be the only one who's having it. So if you see, my spices have been cooking on medium flame, and the trick is you should not be cooking. Indian food never is cooked on a high flame. Like a curry is never cooked on a high flame. Breads, yes, but curries never, because the spices get burnt very easily. Yes, so never on a high flame. And we've added turmeric powder, salt, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper or red chilli powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of coriander powder. No garam masala yet. We have not added any garam masala as yet. We will add the garam masala later. What we are going to do now is we'll take the spinach. If you're all with me, take your spinach and add it now to the pan. But before we add that, I want to warn you all, have a Dexil ready with you, a cover with you, because this starts spilling in everywhere and then you will have a tough time cleaning your kitchen. So please keep a cover ready with you so that you don't have a mess created. So give it a good mix it all really well. We have not added our paneer cubes yet. We have not added them yet because these are homemade paneer, very soft. So if you keep them submerged in the liquid for a really long time, they will start crumbling and might turn into a scrambled paneer. So I am not adding it yet, but I will add in the next 5 minutes. I'll add my paneer as well. And if you like, if you see my photo that I used while saying that this is the workshop that we're doing, you see a brown tinge on my paneer. That's because it was homemade paneer and I wanted to add it immediately. So what I did is I added a little oil and just shallow fried each side, literally for a minute or two on each side, and then I just added it. That's another option if you really love oil. And that's one option as well. That's another variation to the same dish, and that's how I keep entertaining myself. Every time I cook some dish, I just keep making different variations to the same dish, because there are a lot of recipes which will ask you to add extra spices at the end of this dish, so on top of it with extra ghee and oil. I do it just once in a while. I don't add it that way. I mean, you don't have to do everything every time. The dish itself is such a simple food that it will taste good automatically.
Sorry, Paulami.
Mm-hmm.
The paneer, should I put it in another pan to cook it a little bit, or?
Not necessary. Today, let's not do it. Again, next week when you cook the same dish. Sorry? If you're using tofu, yes, please do that, because tofu has this soya-ish smell. So I would ask you, if you're using tofu, then that's an option. But if you are happy with the flavor of tofu as is, it's okay to add it, because tofu is something which absorbs the flavor irrespective of what you put it in. So it takes the taste of the curry. So it's okay not to fry it as well. But for me, I like it fried. Tofu, I always like it fried.
It looks like your mix now.
Mm-hmm.
It's very watery. Mine has much less water. Should I add?
No, you're doing good. Don't add it. Mine is a little watery right now. I'm going to now try and get it less watery at the moment. So you're good. If it's too less water, then add a little bit of water from what you had over there. The water that you discarded from boiling. You can add a little bit of that, but don't keep it too dry, because the dish should be a gravy. It has to have some curry. Yeah. It should not be extremely dry as well. So what you see right now is just, I would say it should come together slightly more than what it is right now. So what I'm going to do is bring it to a high boiling point, add my paneer, and then let it simmer while we start working on our bread. If everybody is with me, you can do the same. If not, you can ask me a question. What I have done is I have actually even poured my flour in in a bowl, because I'm going to use this for kneading it. So if you have not done that, while this is coming to a boil, you can do this same step. And I received 2 emails stating they don't have whole wheat flour. What my recommendation to them was, you can use tarve meal or all-purpose flour as well. It's okay. If not, if you have any other, if you have spelt meal, spelt flour, you can add that. You can add some chickpea flour. It's fine. Times of distress, don't get distressed yourself. Don't go out and go to the supermarket to buy it. It's fine.
So, what's that? Is it, sorry. Is white flour better, or if I have chickpea, I can do 100% chickpea flour?
I wouldn't say 100% chickpea, because chickpea does not have gluten at all. It's a gluten-free flour, so I wouldn't ask you to use chickpea 100%. If you have white flour, just mix chickpea with white. If you have brown flour and chickpea flour, the whole wheat and chickpea, mix those two, half, that's fine. If you have spelt, you can add that, or buckwheat, you can add that as well. So just bring this to a boil. This has now started boiling. For me, if you can see, this is boiling now. I am adding all my paneer cubes now to this. And I'm going to lower the flame. So the boiling temperature that I had kept was around 8, and now I've lowered it to a 4, because I want it to simmer on a low flame. And then I will put a Dexel, because it will start splashing everywhere. We will do a taste test. We will see how the taste is of this, if it needs more salt and some little bit of sugar. We will do that in a little while, but right now let it simmer. And while this is simmering away, I will transfer it to this side. Maybe, yes, let's transfer it over here. So I can use this counter for kneading the bread. Is anyone who has any questions about the flour that we're using? This, what I have over here, is also a mixture of brown and white, because I don't have 100% brown at home myself. As I was telling yesterday someone at my workshop, I'm living on the edge. I'm literally living on the edge with my Indian supplies. I have to really go to the supermarket and buy things. And that's why I have mixed my flour as well. What I have done is I've kept a little flour on reserve. The reason I've kept it in reserve is because I will need it for kneading or rolling it. So I will be using this kind of a thing to roll it, and this is my rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can always use a bottle, a wine bottle or a beer bottle without the stickers. You can always use that and then roll it with that as well. This is how we roll in India. This is chakka and belan and chakka. This is not mandatory as such. I didn't have it for the first 2 years that I was living here. I went to India last year and I got this from my kitchen there, because it was just sitting there in the kitchen not getting used. So I got it this year. But you can always, I was using my kitchen counter till then to make my bread. You can always do that. Just keep a little, my whole thing was just keep a little bit of flour in reserve. Yeah, so this is what my flour looks like. I will now make a, if everybody can see what I'm doing, I'm just making a small well, and now I will add my salt and oil, because this is different from a fulka or a chapati or a roti. Now Suriname's roti is very different. That's made out of white flour only, is what I know of. I've added now I think 1/4 teaspoon of salt, you should always add a bit of salt to your flour because the flour itself does not have any taste. If you wish to eat just the bread without something, you would always need some flavor. So add a little bit of salt always. And I will add oil. In this case, you need a bit of oil because that will just make this bread super soft and flaky. So I have now added a tablespoon of oil, and you will need water. So what I will do is, before I start adding the water, what I always like to do is I try to mix the oil with the salt and the flour, and then ensure if I can get these kind of lumps. Now this will make my bread super flaky and soft, and that's how it's in Hindi it's called to give mohan. I really have no word for it in English. Maybe my English is not that good, so I don't know what it's called in English, but in Hindi we call it to give it mohan. In Bengali we call it mon. So there are different names in different languages in India. So I just do this always to ensure that my bread is flaky and soft. So now that I've done that, I will again make a well, and if you're following me, don't add all the water at one go, because then it's going to be a pancake mixture and you don't want that. It should look like a tortilla mixture. If you've never made tortilla, you have made pizza maybe, so you would know how a pizza dough should look like. Not that stretchy, but then a little stretchy, a little to that texture. So don't add water as much, just keep adding little by little. So just keep seeing how much water you need and then keep mixing the flour. Now there is no measurement again, because everyone would have the different types of flour that you're using as a mixture, so I cannot give you 100% accurate measurement for each one of you right now, but I will keep showing you what I do. So I will keep adding water as I progress this way. And my palak paneer right now is looking super pretty. It's boiling away. After we are done with the dough, we will start finishing the dough, the paneer. So I've taken a little more water. Always take water in increments, never too much, and keep kneading it. If you knead it really well is when you are actually stretching the gluten, and that's going to make it a good paratha. Now if you go to Malaysia, they have a version of the same dish called roti paratha that they call it, and that's again Indian inspired. And back then, I think a few thousand years back, India was a part of this whole subcontinent. We took some food from the Middle East, the Southeast Asia took a few food from us, we took some from them, so it's all a mixture. So there are different names. You have roti jala, roti kanai, you have roti prata that they eat in Malaysia and Brunei. In India we eat different variations of paratha. We have the stuffed parathas that we add, and we can do that. That's a little tough, so we're not doing that. We eat another type of paratha called lacha paratha, which is like a croissant. So it's literally like a croissant version of Indian bread. We are not doing that today because that's a work of art and will take, so that's the only thing that we might have to do that day. So just keep kneading it. Keep kneading it. I don't know if you all have got the same texture as me right now. This is how you have to use your pressure of your forearm. I think every Indian woman has good forearm. At least the right one is super strong, I feel. I don't know if the left one is also strong, but the right one is, of course. I, for one, if I'm making a lot of paratha, I use my KitchenAid also to make the dough. You can always do that.
Can you describe how hard it should be, like how much resistance we should have?
Can you ask the question again, please?
Can you describe how firm the dough should
I'm going to do that now. So I will show you how the dough is. So this is what my dough is done. I will show you how it looks like right now. So if I touch it, this is how it is. It's not like a pizza dough that will come up because there's no yeast. It's unleavened, so there is no yeast. So this is really this is a firm dough, as you can see, but it's not super firm. Also, it's soft. It's soft, but it's not firm. It's not super soft. So I will be just, I don't know if this answers your question and if you're able to see what I'm doing, but this is exactly how your dough texture should be at the end. And now I will just let this rest. Ideally, whenever you make a dough of whole wheat, you should ideally let it rest for at least 30 minutes. But we're doing a 1 hour workshop. If we let something rest for 30 minutes, how can we get something out of it? So we are not going to let this rest, but we will just let it sit with a cover on it while we look into our Palak Paneer. So if you all can see my Palak Paneer, can the top view also show this? I think it can. This is how it looks. Nice. So this is how it's looking. I'm now going to do a tasting. Also, can I ask you for a favor? Can you help me with the sugar from there? I forgot to bring it. If you can help me with the sugar. I'll take a little bit of sugar. I always like to balance my curries with some salt and some sugar, always, because sugar ensures that you have a balance to the flavor. Never does an Indian food, according to me, have just one taste, and it's always balanced. So before I taste, I know I will need to add a bit of garam masala. So I am adding half a teaspoon of garam masala at this stage now. If you don't want, you cannot, you can skip garam masala, but it just brings in that amazing texture, amazing flavor and aroma to the curry. And if you see, I did not put an ice bath to my spinach, but it still looks green. There is no, yours might look a little different with the color of the shade of green. That's maybe because of the amount of turmeric you've added or the amount of red chili that you've added, and that can sometimes change the proportion or the color of the green that you see. But this is everyone's dish will be a rock star. I know that everybody's will look good, but I am just going to take a little bit of this. I will add slight amount of salt. People who've come to my in-person workshop are like, Paulami, how much salt do Indians eat? Do they all die of blood pressure? I'm like, no, we need the amount of salt because we're eating a lot of spices. So salt helps in the absorption of the spices. So if you are somebody who skips salt in every dish because it's not good for health and you're eating spices, then there's no point in you eating the spice. So you should add salt. If you are somebody who has symptomatic problems with your kidney, of course, you should add like slight amount of it. But I always say salt is added on top of the food while you're eating is not good. So fridges, pommes, the crisps and the chips that you get in the supermarket packets, they are not good for health at all. But adding salt to your food, it's good. Brilliant, perfect. My Palak Paneer is done. For me, it's done. I don't know about you guys. If you are also in the same place as I am now going to just turn off. I've turned off my flame and I will keep it.
Did you add sugar?
I added a pinch of sugar. I added 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. Yes, I did, because it just brings a really nice flavor to it. So I always add a bit of sugar. So this is where it is. So while we are waiting for the bread to kind of rest, if you also have your cucumber chopped up like me, and if you have your coriander leaves like me. You can just mix them all together. It's all mixed. And I will now show you a very funny spice which I forgot to take out, so I will quickly grab it from my pantry. Where is it? Ah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's not called chunky, but it's called chaat masala. So chaat masala, as you had seen in my list of ingredients that I had sent as well, is a spice which every Indian, as soon as they hear the word chaat masala, their mouth will start salivating, and that's the sensory feed that your body gets. So it's a mixture of rock salt and cumin powder and mango powder, coriander powder. So it's a lot of things mixed together, and that's why it has this, you know, the tip of your tongue starts acting up. So I'm going to add a pinch of it. If you see, this is a pinch. I don't have a big hand, but it's a pinch. So I have added a pinch of that. It generally also has, as I said, it has rock salt, so it has amount of salt in it. So be careful in the amount of salt you add to your dish. But rock salt tastes very different. So you can use Himalayan rock salt if you have at home. You can add the pink salt. That's beautiful. That's something which you can add. And I have the full yogurt instead of the Greek yogurt. The list that I had sent was for Greek yogurt. I just had this. I have to use this up in my fridge, so I'm going to use this. If I'm using this, I will not add water, but if you're using Greek yogurt, you will need to add at least 2 tablespoons of water. So I will show you how the texture or the consistency of this raita will turn out, and that's when you will know if you need water. So this is how this is. Beautiful. Give it a good mix. There you go. That's it. What's the fuss about raita? I think everyone can make raita. I mean, literally everyone. If you can hold a knife, you can make a raita. This is how it does look. So if you see from the top now, this is how the consistency is, because I had used the full yogurt, which already is a little liquidy than a Greek yogurt, so I did not add water. But you have to add water if you're making it with Greek yogurt. And now I will add a pinch of cumin powder. Now the question is, how do I know this is cumin or coriander? That's because I have poured it, so I know it. So I'm adding a pinch of cumin powder and mixing it, and just for making it look pretty for you all on the screen, not for any other reason, huh? A little bit of red chili so that it looks pretty for you guys. So that's how my raita does. For everyone, this is how it looks like. Raita is done, Palak Paneer is done, and we will now move to the bread. So the deal with spices is done, so I'm going to keep it away. We don't need spice anymore. If you want to start now kneading the dough, rolling the dough, so start clearing your kitchen counter and getting your pins ready, the rolling pins ready. If you're using a beer bottle, a wine bottle, perfect. I have myself done it in the past. If you are right now making this with buckwheat flour or spelt, rolling it smoothly will be a problem because it doesn't have gluten as much as a regular flour would have. So what I do is I take a little bit of water and oil, and then I use my hands to do it. And that's something which we will do a gluten-free bread sometime. And that's something, there are different techniques of doing gluten-free bread. We use even maize flour, corn flour. Yeah, we also use that for making bread. So makki ka roti is what it's called. We use that and we make it with our hands. And that's a technique which you can use if you're not using gluten in your bread. So what I will do is, I have this whole big dough. This can make up to, I think 4 or 3 or 2 paratha, but depends on how big you want it. So I want it to be like tiny mini parathas that I'm making today. So I will make 3 of these, and then later on I will make some rice as well, because this is not enough for 2 people to eat. So I will make a little bit of rice too. So if just divide them into small balls. Yeah, if you see, I've just done that. I've divided them into balls. Take a flat pan like this. It's okay to use a non-stick as well. If you have an iron skillet, perfect, you're my friend. You're perfectly doing it right. So now keep it at a highish flame. So if you see, the maximum is 9 that I have, and I've kept it at a 7.
You're going really fast.
Yes, sorry. I hope you can follow me. Which stage are you stuck? Can I help you?
So you lost me at the yogurt.
Sorry?
You lost me at the yogurt.
So have you not done anything with the bread? Just divide them into 3 balls. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Just do the 3 balls and we start the kneading in the next 2 minutes. So we will wait for you to get the bread dough ready. Yeah?
Yeah, well, thank you.
Perfect. So while we're waiting, just get your flour, keep it on the side. Get your oil, keep it on the side. We will be using a bit of flour and a little bit of oil to make it flaky. And turn on your flame, because this needs to be a little hot. As I said, the breads are always cooked at a high flame, and not the curries. It's the bread that gets cooked at high flames. And if you have your balls ready, what I do is generally I just pat it, and that way it gets a little smoother, gets bigger in size, of course. That's what I'll keep doing. And now I will take a little bit of flour. I guess everybody is ready, so I am going ahead so that we can all be making the bread together. If you've missed the first bread, don't worry, I'll make the second bread. Don't worry, it's okay if you are still rolling or making the balls. Absolutely fine. We will make 2 breads and you will see it again. So this is how I roll it. Now this is something which comes out of practice. You might not be able to get round at one go. Maybe mine is not round as well. It's okay if you don't have it round. Generally what people do is they take a round plate and they place it on this and cut it out sometimes. So that's also something that they do. So you can also do that. But this is how it is. I will take a little bit of oil. Just
How big, which size is it? Not allowed?
sorry, I didn't get your question.
What size is it about? I should have, like, how many inches or...
However big you want your ball to be. So there is no size actually. I would say 1.5 inch of a diameter is good. 1 to 2 inch diameter is perfectly fine.
Do you know in millimeter?
15 centimeter.
How centimeter?
This big one, this is 15 centimeter.
No, I mean thick or thin.
Thin in millimeter. I would say this has to be quite thin.
3 millimeter.
Yeah, indeed. Now my gas is getting really hot, so I'm turning it off.
You said you put oil?
I did put oil now. I have put oil.
Can I put ghee?
Yes, please. Yes. Amazing. Please put ghee if you want. I have put oil and now I've put some flour also on top of it. And then I will again roll it. Again, make a ball. And that's going to make the inside super. Okay, we will make it again. Another layer of oil we will put so that it becomes beautiful. So now it should be thin. It should not be super thick. It should be a thin bread because this is a flat bread. So and this is again does not have any yeast, so it will not be good to eat it too thick. So I will show you again the rolling process. So I am now rolling it thin. You don't have to roll it twice. I'm just rolling it because I want to show you how the oil is applied. So you can just do it once and then just put it to the pan. I'm rolling it twice so that you all can see it again. So this is how it is. Now I would say this is 10 centimeters, and then few drops of oil, very few drops of oil. Just smear the oil. If you can follow me, this is just a few drops of oil, some flour, because if you just add oil and then start rolling the bread, the oil starts coming out. So, and now again, that's it. And then make a circle again like this. This is a little tough. I understand it's not the easiest thing to do. This is going on YouTube right now as well. What I would say is, if you've missed this and you're like, oh my God, this is just too tough for me, watch this again. You will get it right. Yeah, because this is not, I mean, most people in India get judged for their parathas and rotis for how they make it, and it's something which, for somebody who's really never cooked Indian food, it's not an easy thing to get. And most people who've come to my workshops have struggled with bread, but then eventually, of course, after first or second trial, they all have got it. But this is something which is tough. It's not an easy thing to do, and if you don't get this, it's fine. You can eat it with regular bread as well tonight, and then keep practicing this. And a lot of times people go here and do this. Don't have to do it, just keep moving this, and that's it. Perfect. Now that's how it is looking. I have something here, I don't know what that is. So I will do a repair work, and that's it. Now I will turn on my flame again, because I had turned it off. It was super hot when I was talking, and also, now very important, before you add it to the flame, don't add oil to the pan at all. But when you have this, if you see there's a lot of flour on top of the bread, just rub it off. You don't want to eat raw flour on a cooked bread. It doesn't taste good at all. So please dust it as much as possible. If you can't do it, it's a different thing, but you can always keep doing this. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. If you're using a chickpea flour or any other flour, it is going to look differently. It's going to have a different texture to it, and that's going to be a different type of paratha then. So if you are struggling, let me know. Send me a text on Instagram after this, and we will try and solve it. So we'll try and solve how we can do it. What I did is I've added this to my pan without oil, no oil at all. I'm going to see now, if you all can see from the top, you will start seeing a few bubbles coming in on this side of the bread, but I'm going to let it have few more bubbles. That's going to start appearing on my bread, and that's when I will flip it and then apply oil. So you have to be just taking, it's a super easy bread, very, very easy. If you see, can you see? These are the bubbles that have come, and now I will flip it, and this is how it looks. While the other side is also cooking or roasting or baking, I will add, paratha is all about oil. It's oil is, there's no substitute. You can add ghee, butter, but some sort of fat for a paratha is a must. At Indian households, they also make butter at home, so the white butter. Unsalted butter is what they add, so you can always do that. And there's no substitute to fat in this case. A paratha cannot be made fat-free. I'm sorry, my friend, it has to be with fat. So it starts puffing up. You know why it's puffing up? That's because the water inside the flour is now trying to release the bubbles, and that's how you know that it's super soft inside. And this is how you will add oil to the other side. It's going a little quick, but if this is how you see it, that's it. Your bread is done. It took me exactly 3 minutes to cook it on the pan, and a few minutes to, of course, roll it. So this is how my bread is. And what I generally do is, if I'm not eating it right away, I cover it in a cloth and then I keep it on it. So I will show you how I do it. So I take a cloth like this, add my bread, and I keep it covered this way so that it stays soft. If I keep it exposed outside, it will turn dry. So yeah, that's how it is done. I will show you the second bread and we will end it here. If you guys want to ask any questions while I'm rolling the second bread, this is your chance. Please go ahead and do it, because we're done with everything else. I can answer some questions now. So you have to keep rolling it. If you can see it from the top now, this is just rolling it. Yeah, if you can see it now. I'm gonna make a different type of a triangle now. Just, you know, as a kid, mothers used to make different shapes, sometimes square, sometimes pentagons, sometimes triangles, and just to keep us entertained, so that every day she was like, oh, today I made triangle paratha, today I made a square paratha. And we always as kids thought it's a different dish every day, but it's the same thing. She'd use different shapes to make it look like a new dish for us. As kids, we didn't understand, of course. So now that you've added your flour and your oil,
I do have a question, if possible.
go ahead.
My paratha is not popping up, you know, like you said in the beginning.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's brown.
It's fine. It doesn't have to puff up. It doesn't have to puff up.
I'm using spelt, maybe because of this.
What flour did you use?
The spelt.
Ah, that's why. Yeah, spells will not really puff up that nicely. No. That's why. So you're doing good. Absolutely. What I do with a spelt, I don't know, is that Claire who's asking this question? Sorry? Oh, I don't know. If that's Claire who's asking this question, we spoke about this today. What I do with my spelt is I actually add some soft sweet potato, because that makes it sweeter and also softer. So that's what I do with my spelt. Yeah, spelt is because it doesn't have gluten. It will be hard. What I would ask you to do is just add a lot of ghee and butter to it so that it's eatable, but don't eat it immediately. Let it sit inside a towel like this for I would say a few minutes before you start eating it. Spelt is not a gluten friendly. I mean, of course, it has very less amount of, I mean, it's gluten free almost, so it's a different crop. So it's tough to get that. And if you see in my case, because I've used regular flour and mixed with white, it has so much gluten that I can see the bubbles already coming in. It's the water that's escaping from this thing. So, oh yeah, I wanted to do the triangle and I forgot. That's how we did it. You can add oil to all the layers. I've already added oil. I don't want to add more oil, so I'm not adding it. And that's it. And now the trick is, let's do one thing. So if you guys are also trying with me after this, if you have more dough left with you and if you want to keep trying more shapes, just keep experimenting. Maybe make whatever shapes you can and then show me. Just send me. Let me know what shapes you guys have enabled, and then I'll send it to my mother on Mother's Day, and then I'm like, see mom, you tried to trick me as a kid, and today everyone has made then a new shape. So there are new parathas that have come up. So the idea is you have to keep rolling on all sides because you don't want one of the sides to be super thick and the other side to be super thin. So the triangle otherwise will be funny. And it will not taste good. So that's how it is. I am sure the person who wins the bitterballen book from the Netherlands would have a really good summer borrel this time with all the bitterballers that you can make. There is something like a mango feta bitterballer. Yeah, there's just so much, not just Palak Paneer, but so yeah, if you see, this is how it is. Pretty, and then I add it to my pan. Beautiful. And that's about it. I'm gonna move this away. And because I was taking a longer time, so I kept it on a low flame. I will now move this here so that you all can see it better. So yeah, I'm going to again do the same process. Let me see the bubbles. As somebody asked, if it's spelt, you might not see bubbles, and that's possible because spelt is a little different. Flour, if you're using buckwheat or gram flour as well, it might be a little challenging because water doesn't escape out of gluten that easily if you're using a different type of flour. But you can eat the bread. You will love the bread. If you see, there's bubbles here. Yeah, it's all coming in. Beautiful. Very, very nice. And I will now flip it. Loud. Very loud. Very, very, very loud. Okay. So this is how it's looking. And now let's do our oil. Our oil trick. Where is our spoon? Let's take a new spoon. You don't know where the spoon is. I will take some oil. You can use a brush. I couldn't find, I don't know where I've kept it. Maybe it's gone for washing. I kept it somewhere, I don't know. So I couldn't find a brush, and I'm just using a spoon. Just use a brush or a spray, also fine. And now, flip. Yeah. Again, there is puffing up because water is escaping. Again. Water, oil, oil, oil. If you're using a mixture of white flour and wheat flour, this is how it should turn out. I'm hoping at everyone's end. If you see, it's all puffed up. If you're using a normal gas, then it's amazing because it puffs up even more. In an induction, it's a little tough to get that. And I'm cooking it on the other side as well another time, and that's about it. We are done. If there's anyone who has any questions, please go ahead and ask me now because this is the last 1 minute that we have, and then we will drop off. And I will always the weekend for Eid or the Accession Day, we will be doing, I'm doing a workshop where I will teach you all how to make shrimps biryani or prawn biryani. So if you guys love biryani, that will be a good workshop for you all to attend. This is the first time that I know what I'll teach the next workshop, because generally I have no idea what is the next workshop, and I keep thinking it every time. But this time I know what I will teach. And this is how it is. I just thought I would bring everything in one go. There you go. So that's it. We have our Palak Paneer. We have our Raita and our bread. So if you have made some rice, you can also eat along with this. And this is how it looks like. So that's what we learned today. So I hope you all could follow me. I know it was a little fast, maybe because it was a little advanced than what we do generally. Not the Palak Paneer, but the paratha is a little advanced. But and that's why it's going on YouTube as well. So you can find me on my YouTube, which I have just started yesterday, of course. I don't have a bunch of videos there for you all to follow. But my website has everything written down. So it has a paratha recipe, it has a raita, it has a palak paneer recipe as well. There is it all on my website, but on my YouTube you will find the whole workshop recorded there. It's right now there. So if you want to repeat this tomorrow or next week or the year after this, you can still find it there. Just type in Palak Paneer on Spice Trip with Paulami's YouTube, and you will find the same recording there, and you can follow it. So if you did like anything, just spread the love. And of course, as I said, if you want to win this book, one of you who lives in the Netherlands will win this book today. Just tag me on Facebook with my name, Spice Trip with Paulami, of course, or on Instagram. Tag me with your photos of the food that you've created, and tag Bitterbolle Koning. If you just type Bitterbolle Koning, you will find it on Instagram as well. She's Bitterbolle Koning.nl. That's Ilona's alias name. And if you let us both know what you've cooked, how your Palak Paneer looks like, or you know, whatever you've cooked today, one of you will get the book. But that's about it. Thank you so much for being so patient and for cooking through. I will be back on the 21st of May again with the biryani recipe. So if you have your friends who love biryani, please let them know. We will do a biryani recipe on the 21st of May or the 22nd. I'm still not sure the date, but I will come up with that. And that's what we will do that day. So thank you so much. Have a nice weekend. I hope you all enjoy your food. Please don't forget to send in photos. So take care and have a nice evening.
Bye bye.
Bye. Enjoy.